Coleman, and he's a senior hydrographer with Teledyne Rezon, and he's going to show us exactly how a hydrophone works first. Now, there are different kinds of them, right, James?
Right, exactly. And so this is a hydrophone as well as this one. They're both varieties. And a hydrophone, put simply, is just a microphone for use underwater. And so just like the sound would enter the wet end here, but the difference between a microphone and a hydrophone, one of them, is that there's a pressurized housing that will allow this thing to go down to the bottom of the ocean so that you can put these things on systems or on tails and tow them behind the ship and get them down deep so that they can hear that sound coming from the pinger.
And this is what is picking up the ping. So the ping is going off once every second, and it's listening to it on a certain frequency, correct?
Exactly. It's between 30 and 40 kilohertz. It's a low frequency sound because that travels very far in the ocean. And so that pinger's going out once a second, and you use a hydrophone just like you would a microphone to be able to listen to it underwater.
This has to be how close to that ping?
About 5 miles.
About 5 miles. So that's a widespread area you're talking about. So that's the hydrophone. This is what you start with when you still have the ping for a few more days, let's say. The other option is the sonar, what they would go to second. And these are two options that are sonar examples.
Right, so this is a sonar, and the difference between the hydrophone and the sonar is the hydrophone is just listening for that ping. If that ping dies, then what this is going to do is this is going to emit sound that's going to reflect off of the seafloor, and we're going to pick up the sound that bounces off of the seafloor and use it to form images of what's on the bottom so that we can create a map of what's down on the ocean floor.
And then tell that there is some real debris down there.
Exactly.
So this really narrows it down.
Exactly.
So now that we know what the technology in the water looks like, let's go see what it looks like on the boat and see what you're able to get as you do this and how this technology works that they're probably using in the southern Indian Ocean. So starting with what you're getting from the hydrophone.
Right, and so the hydrophone, you could just put a headset on and listen to the hydrophone and listen for the pings coming from the thing, but you can also have a visual display where you're looking at the actual sound coming out of the ocean. And so this is ocean sound here, and there's some noise source in this particular part of the frequency band. But if you were there with the pinger, you see a really sharp spike at the spot where the pinger is pinging. So once you got within that 5 miles of it, you'd have a visual display.
A visual of it. And so you've got that, and it works in tandem because here we've got the sonar over here. And the sonar is actually showing us sort of the map of the bottom of the water.
Right. So the sonar is pinging below the vessel as we go, and it's mapping out what's the seafloor below the vessel. And as you build that up as the vessel goes over, you generate a map of the targets and objects that are on the seafloor. So if this was a wreck site, we'd be able to pick up the different pieces of the wreck and generate an actual 3D map of what's on the seafloor. But the problem with this sensor is that you have to get it down near the bottom of the ocean. So you know, you're in the southern Indian Ocean, you have to get sensors like this all the way down near the bottom of the ocean to generate a high-resolution map on the seafloor.
In this case, how deep are we? It's this right here from where we are.
We're from the surface, but we're in 40 feet of water right now, and we're mapping from the vessel to 40 feet of water. And you can do the same kind of mapping from higher altitudes, but still, when you're in 4,000 to 5,000 meters of ocean water, you have to get this sensor much further down.
And you can't do it fast. You're talking about going through miles and miles of seafloor and doing it very slowly to get this data.
Yes, and you have to build this map up. You're covering a small area of time. It's very complex to get the sensor down to the bottom of the ocean, and then you have to cover small areas, and you build up over time to get a large map of what's down there.
And that's how they're able to tell if something looks like it may be foreign to there, or if it could be maybe a part of an airplane. And so this is generally probably how they're looking for it, just very slowly in the southern Indian Ocean.
Yes, the sonar works quite slow, but if it's down there and you get the sensor down there, you'll be able to map what's out there and capture the debris field if we're able to.
It's pretty amazing technology, Brooke. And as you can see right here, this is a pipeline that's at the bottom of the seafloor here in the harbor in Santa Barbara. And so you can see what is underneath you, know if it's something that you need to go down and investigate. But it's some pretty amazing technology.
It's incredible technology, but you know and I know, talking to all these experts, you know, they have to really find the debris field, right? The plane debris. They have to find the haystack, if you will, before finding the needle, before finding that black box. Stephanie Elam, thank you so much, though, for the demonstration. I appreciate it. And just broadening out discussion now, let me bring in former commercial pilot and CNN aviation analyst Jim Tillman and CNN aviation correspondent Richard Quest. So, gentlemen, welcome. And Jim Tillman, here's my first question to you, because I read this opinion piece on CNN.com by Robert Boyer. He's been talking a lot on CNN. He's also the editor-in-chief of Flying Magazine and also a commercial pilot. So he wrote this whole more or less hypothesis, right? So he writes about the 777 and how altitude is key in figuring out what happened, and fuel and distance this plane traveled, and concludes, while it's horrific to imagine, a botched hijacking or failed pilot commandeering of the airplane are still the most likely scenarios. Jim Tillman, do you agree with that?
I got to tell you, I read his piece with great interest because I've had some concerns and some skepticism about where we were going and how.
Oh, we're losing him?
It makes really good sense.
It makes really good sense. Well, we're figuring out your signal because I can hear you intermittently, Jim. Richard Quest, did you read this piece? What do you make of that notion?
I did read it. The whole attitude and altitude level is one that's been doing the rounds. Could the plane have gone that far south if it wasn't at 35,000 feet? There are two views on this. I've actually had, by the way, some pilots now email me saying that the plane could have done a very long distance at 12,000 feet at a slower speed. You pay your money, you take your choice. I've actually looked at airline charts and fuel burn charts now. But the core point, let's get away from the detail. The core point of the article is a strong one, and it basically is the argument that says all the circumstantial evidence that we've heard so far points to somebody, and what I call the nefarious option. And yes, I can see that on its face of it, the nefarious option, either by pilots or by hijackers, does seem to be a very strong possibility. Where I differ from others, and maybe even from the good captain, and who we have discussed it before, where I disagree with others, is I am not prepared to go beyond saying, yes, it is one of the options. But I do concede, it is now a very strong option. Everything points in that direction.
Yeah.
I just don't want to go on to say further.
No, and it's an interesting read from a pilot. I'll tweet it out for our viewers if you want to read this. But my next question, too, we talked so much, right, about the search in the southern Indian Ocean, Jim Tillman, and how, ultimately what really holds all the secrets as far as what happened on board the plane is the flight data recorder, the black box. And so really they're listening for two different pings. There's a ping coming from the cockpit voice recorder. There's a ping coming from the black box. But what I didn't realize until reading further today, that the communication and the cockpit, the cockpit voice recorder, it continually records over itself. So if they find it, it's only the last 2 hours of conversation, correct?
That's correct, and I'm not altogether certain about how much power was available for the boxes to continue to function. It sounds like something at some point to take the power away from these devices, and if that's the case, we have very limited information at best. But you're right, we only look at the last few minutes or hours, depending upon which device we're talking about. But even that would give us a lot of information. I mean, I really don't want to downplay that at all. I mean, I'm really anxious to hear what they have to say on those boxes.
Richard Quest, much has been discussed about the all right, good night, that final communication from, we believe, was the co-pilot. I've talked to myriad pilots saying, or especially Western pilots saying, that is the appropriate phraseology, back to the ground. But I talked to one pilot specifically who said no, that culturally, Malaysian pilots would not use that phrase. And he found it odd. Where do you stand on that?
Oh, I'm under no doubt about this. It doesn't tell us anything. I have listened to air traffic control where I've heard pilots just simply say either because they're in a hurry or they're pissed off with air traffic control or they didn't get the altitude. They're like, good night. And frankly, I've also heard air traffic control be in a strop back and demand that the pilot do a proper read back. 370 contacting 120.9. All right, good night. I've heard it both ways. You cannot just take this. What I do think you can take is that since whoever said it, and we assume it was, because what we've been told it was the co-pilot, since we've been told it was the co-pilot, he didn't indicate the plane was on fire, a bomb had gone off, or there was some dreadful incident going on. We can, I think, realistically assume that nothing, if the mechanical option is the preferred choice, that nothing had happened by then, because that would be very odd to simply say, all right, good night, and not say, oh, and by the way, the wing's on fire.
Right,
or whatever it would be, yes. So let's not read too much into the all right, good night. It was sloppy, but it was not unknown.
Glad I asked. Richard Quest, Jim Tillman, thank you both very much. Coming up, we have to talk about the families, of course. This is what this is about, the anguish, the frustration, the anger. They're saying it's all a lie, that the lives are lost. So they're calling Malaysians, the government, the airline murderers. See what happened when they stormed the Malaysian embassy today, plus how they're reacting to this $5,000 payout from the airline. Also back here at home, one geologist is calling this landslide the worst he has ever seen. Still, more than 170 unaccounted for as rescuers are clinging to hope that they can find additional survivors. We will take you there live. You are watching CNN's special live coverage.
He began a piano man and ended up selling over 150 million albums worldwide. Now, coming to Sirius XM for a special limited engagement channel of his very own, Billy Joel. I started out to be a songwriter. Now, I did not set out to be a rock star. The Billy Joel channel starts tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific, on Channel 4, online, and on the Sirius XM app. The Billy Joel channel is coming to Sirius XM. CNN, the worldwide leader in news. Sirius XM 1.
What an It's Just Lunch matchmaker can do for you. That's 800 The Date.
Hi, I'm Wesley Hogan with Westland Financial with a mortgage update. Even though rates have moved up, they will go even higher. So don't miss out on this historic opportunity. All it takes is a 5-minute phone call to find out how we can save you hundreds or even thousands of dollars a year. Even if you've refinanced in the last 12 months, we can still do it with no closing costs. Whether it's a conventional, VA, FHA, or jumbo loan, you won't spend a dime. That's right, nothing's rolled into your loan. We'll pay for your settlement fee, title, notary, everything. Choosing such a loan could affect your interest rate, and you will be responsible for existing lender payoff fees. Even if you owe more than your house is worth, we may be able to refinance you under the new HARP 2.0 government program. And by the way, Westland Financial is now proud to offer reverse mortgages for our clients over 62. You can't afford to be giving money away, so call us at 888...
Parking mode disabled.
We make loans you can live with for a long time. 888-945-4105. That's 888-945-4105. Or visit us online at westland.com.
Lennox Financial Mortgage Corp. DBA Westland. NMLS number 3304. Not all loans apply. Equal housing lender.
Do you suffer from tough, debilitating headaches that just won't go away? Do you have a headache right now? Is your headache medicine working for you? Migralex was developed and patented by a neurologist, Dr. Alex Mauskop. Migralex is guaranteed to relieve the toughest headaches. Migralex is also gentle on your stomach and does not contain caffeine.
I'm neurologist Dr. Alex Mauskop. After treating headaches for 25 years, I've developed Migralex. It's fast-acting and it works on the toughest headaches, including tension, sinus, stress, menstrual, and even hangovers.
Migralex works really fast, and I love that it's easy on my stomach.
To learn how to get a free bottle of Migralex, call 800-672-4591 or go to Migralex.com.
Migralex has changed the lives of so many of my headache patients. You should try it too.
Call now to learn how to get your free bottle of Migralex at 800-672-4591. That's 800-672-4591 or go to Migralex.com. That's Migralex.com.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Time for another OTC stock profile. Novus Robotics, ticker symbol NRBT. Novus Robotics supplies components and robotic modules to the world's top 10 automotive suppliers. Talk to your broker about Novus Robotics or enter ticker symbol NRBT. That's ticker symbol NRBT. See SpotlightStock.com for full disclaimer.
Sirius Satellite Radio. You're listening to Sirius XM Satellite Radio.
Sirius XM has your sports with live play-by-play coverage and talk about your favorite teams in the NFL, NHL, fantasy, college sports, NASCAR, the PGA Tour, and more. Plus, exclusive sports talk on Mad Dog Radio with Christopher Mad Dog Russo. Sirius XM Sports.
The death toll stands at 14 in rural Washington State after this mudslide just virtually wiped out 2 communities in Snohomish County. You see the pictures yourself right here, just utter devastation. Officials there say there's anywhere from 30 to 40 feet of mud and debris in the towns of Oso and Darrington. At least 49 structures were destroyed, and there are still more than 170 people still unaccounted for. One woman who is desperately trying to find 4 family members spoke with Anderson Cooper about how overwhelmed this community is feeling right now.
This is catastrophic for our community, and all of us who are waiting for word on our family members know each other. We know the other family members that are missing. Family members. That it's just it's grief for our whole town. So just pray for our town, please.
Several volunteers are helping out with the search and rescue, and let's go straight to Darrington to see Bill Weir. And Bill, I mean, what a compelling interview last hour, and I think what just sticks with me is what he told you, this man who's missing his own loved ones, describing to you kids digging out their parents. It's awful.
Yeah, I mean, grown children, but still, I mean, it's your heart just rends for these people in this town. They're so close. They're still processing this in different stages. Some would say denial, others call it hope. It depends on who you talk to, just talking to a clergy. But to give you some sense of this, so this is the staging area here in Darrington, on the west side of the slide, and all morning we've been watching volunteers get briefed here and then head down that road, down Highway 530, into the scene of just such utter devastation. And when they come back, Brooke, they come back changed by the things they've seen. I've talked to a few who are just haunted by the images up there. They're describing the victims of this landslide like they had been tossed into a rock tumbler. And it's so gruesome. And of course, we're all holding out hope that there are air pockets. It's like an earthquake where people survive for days in a hidden little corner, and we just need to give them enough time so they can be heard, cries can be heard. But I talked to one fireman here from this town who described the paste, the greasy paste-like structure or consistency of that earth, all that white earth that came down, how it filled everything, how it ripped cars in half. And here's what he had to say.
The people we're finding are just not buried. They're ripped apart and smashed. Yeah.
So they went for a ride in that mess.
Clothes are ripped off and it's very undignified. It's hard to deal with the images.
So the cost that will carry on from here, not just the mourning of those who have lost their loved ones, 14, although that's bound to go higher, but there's a psychological toll of all those volunteers who are up there working that pile right now, and all the first responders as well, and clergy are now already getting guidance on how to go into the schools and deal with the kids' questions as we go forward here. So I wish I could inject some sense of hope that there's a feeling that, you know, the clock is just ticking if they can get there fast enough. But so many folks I've talked to have resigned to themselves to the fact that it's time to start mourning.
I am so glad you talked to a firefighter. You know, in times of these, our thoughts are always with the families of those who are missing or who are no longer with us, but it's also those rescue teams who are searching and finding and seeing things no one should ever have to see. Bill Weir, thank you so much in Washington for us right now. Coming up here, back to the plane, underwater piece of equipment here could be the key to finding Flight 370. We will show you how this robot could give us the first glimpse of Flight 370.
I'm Jim Duquette from MLB Network Radio. I was a Major League Baseball general manager for 15 years with the Reds and Nationals.
I've seen just about everything in baseball. Now, weekday mornings on Power Alley, I get to critique the rosters of all 30 teams. I try to give the perspective of what it's like to make a decision in the front office.
And we'll bring baseball's biggest names directly to you, players, managers, and executives, as they discuss the important stories.
Get the front office perspective weekday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern on MLB Network Radio, Sirius 209, XM 89, and the Sirius XM app.
Hi, I'm Glenn Fleischman, the host of the podcast, The New Disruptors. I've been an entrepreneur for over 2 decades, and it's always been hard to find the right people to hire. With so many job boards out there, how can you know which one will produce the best talent? Realistically, to fill the position fast and with the perfect candidate, you need to post your job on all the top job sites. And now you can do it with a single click with ZipRecruiter.com. ZipRecruiter.com lets you post to more than 40 job sites at once. ZipRecruiter.com also posts your job on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Just post once and watch the qualified candidates roll into ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use interface. You can screen applicants, rate them, and hire the right people fast. Try ZipRecruiter right now and find out why it's been used by over 100,000 businesses. And right now, my listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/XM. That's ZipRecruiter.com/XM. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/XM.
The first fax machine was invented in 1846.
Talk about dated technology. You might as well use a chisel and stone. Fax machines are the ball and chain of the modern era. Make 2014 the year you finally say goodbye to that old worn-down dinosaur and say hello to eFax. eFax lets you send and receive faxes using nothing but email or the camera function on your smartphone. It's amazing. With eFax, you can keep your clients happy while working from anywhere. And eFax is so fast and convenient, you'll never go back to the old ball and chain of fax machines again. Never let sending and receiving a fax slow you down. Our listeners can try eFax free by going to efaxradio.com. That's a special site just for our listeners. efaxradio.com. Get your free 30-day trial now at efaxradio.com. efaxradio.com.
Are you a smoker? Then this message from Smoke Remedy is for you.
I smoked on and off for 30 years. I have a couple of young sons, and they were saying, Daddy, you gotta quit. We want you to live a long time. I stumbled on Smoke Remedy one day. I didn't think that something that you sprayed in your mouth would work after all the other things that I had tried. I started carrying the bottle around with me. I would spray when I would crave a cigarette. Everything that I tried to quit smoking failed until I got Smoke Remedy, and now I'm an ex-smoker.
Smoke Remedy contains FDA-regulated homeopathic medicines that can stop your cravings for cigarettes and get rid of your desire to smoke. Smoke Remedy comes in an easy-to-use spray bottle. When you get the urge to smoke, spray Smoke Remedy into your mouth to get rid of the craving. There are no chemicals, no nicotine, no taste, and no side effects. With Smoke Remedy's guarantee, you will quit or get your money back. Go to SmokeRemedy.com today and save 20%. That's SmokeRemedy.com. SmokeRemedy.com.
Just past the bottom of the hour, you're watching CNN. I'm Brooke Baldwin, and we now know that the U.S. Navy's Black Box Finder has just reached Perth, and in just a couple of days, it'll be making its slow journey on a ship through the high seas to look for Flight 370 and specifically find those boxes. So in Perth, planes are returning to the skies soon. 3:30 in the morning there after severe weather in this remote part of the world halted the search.